Hey guys, Comic Crack. I got an order in the mail from WowCool in California. I ordered from them about two and a half weeks ago. They specialize in anthologies, underground, alternative, small press, more kind of art comics or whatever. They also do carry a couple of back issues and get into more superhero territory, but that's a very, very small amount of their stock. It's mostly kind of art comics. So I just wanted to show you what I got. I read through most of them, so we'll talk about them and I'll show you some of the pages, and if you find anything interesting, WowCool is the site. I think it's just wowcool.com, I believe. So definitely check it out. I know there's a couple of people that follow me that this might be of some interest to them, but yeah, here we go. So I don't have the box handy, but they did a great job in packaging it. It reminded me a little bit of when I'd ordered from my comic shop, just with the amount of care that they took into making sure nothing got damaged on the shipment. Oversized box. The shipping was a little pricey, but I don't really mind. I can't find stuff like this here at all, so it's worth it to be able to get some of these comics. So there you go, WowCool postcard with a couple of their samples. This one up in the top corner there, NEGRON. I just ordered that tonight along with a suspect device, that issue there as well. Yeah, really cool stuff, and for most of it they give you samples when you click on the page. It gives you a little description, a little rundown, links if there is any, and then sometimes there's some pictures from the inside of the comic that you can blow up to have a look at. So there's the back of that thing. Alright, so let's start. This is called Bowman. I'd heard a lot about it, I think through sorry, I'm just adjusting there. I think through the Ink Studs show, and I thought I'd give it a try. It was fairly cheap. Actually, before we go much further, not for kids. This particular issue isn't necessarily dirty or anything, but I should just say that now. For the rest of these, there's some adult content in some of these comics, so just be aware that this is probably not for kids. I didn't like it very much. I like the cover. I think it's crazy enough that it really drew my interest, but the inside of it and the story and stuff, I don't know, it didn't really do much for me. And then some kind of alien Bart Simpson looking guy, it just really didn't appeal to me. And I think this is kind of a good example from myself personally. I'm sure there's lots of people that like it, and that's fantastic, but for me myself, this is when getting into this kind of thing can be a little difficult, because there's stuff out there that is, I'm trying to dance around it a little bit. I don't want to be too insulting to people who might like this sort of thing. It just doesn't work for me. Let's just put it at that. And that's what's going to happen when you start delving into some of this more underground stuff. There's going to be some things that I just personally can't quite understand what the draw is, but that's fine. It's just maybe not written for me. So anyway, I gave it a shot, and I know to avoid it in the future because it doesn't speak to me. So there you go, Bowman. This, on the other hand, completely spoke to me. I thought it was impressive. You Will All Die in Pain. A guy by the name of Derek M. Ballard. This is issue 1 in his cartoon show book series. And man, am I hoping that there's plenty more of these and they come pretty darn quick, because this really impressed me. The cover, super unique. I don't know, I can't quite put my finger on it. It's a little bit of design in it, but it's a little bit of retro sci-fi feel to it. And then the interiors are about the same. So again, adults, just remember. So there's a few stories in this one. I'll just kind of show you a couple of pages. I love the way he draws his characters, the panel layouts and stuff. Again, the stories are very abstract. This one here called Mongrel was my favorite in this little issue. And mainly for reasons like this, like that middle panel there. And instead of breaking it up into 3 separate panels, it's just one big panel with him moving through space. So running from his backyard to his door and then finally into his house as he's running away from this half-naked woman who has a knife in her hand. And the perspective that you get there, we're sort of looking down on him, but the car is kind of facing us. Crazy angles, crazy features on some of the people, and just very, very cool. And that was that story, and then you get a, sorry about that, there we go, a black and white story as well. And then another color. So there you go. He was on my mind. This, like I said, this one really stood out from everything that I got. So when I was on again tonight, I ordered more from WowCool tonight, and he has appeared in a couple of anthologies that I ordered as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing some more. This particular book was put out by Drippy Bone Books, and they have a site as well, drippybonebooks.com, if you're curious about looking into it any further. So that's that one. An anthology that I'd heard about for quite a while now. I was surprised. Number 2 and 3 were also listed on WowCool, but they were out of stock. They still had issues of number 1 left. And after reading it, I really want to find 2 and 3. I really liked it. This is kind of an adults erotica, I guess, sort of anthology. So what do we have? Let's go to the first page. Breakdown of who's in it. Breeding Season by Kate Skelly. Granddaddy Purple Erotic Game Show by Johnny Negron, and that's the one that really stood out. Pearl Divers, Zhejian Shen. Trap Shades by Derek Ballard again, the guy that I just showed you. And then a husband and wife team that call themselves True Chubbo. So this is interesting because of the, it's printed one color, and really, just really great little stories. I'll show you the Johnny Negron one. Try to find a page before it gets too filthy. Here we go. He's got a very manga type style to him. So there's a kind of look. Let's see if that'll focus in there. There we go. Get a sense of his work. The book that I ordered tonight is called NEGRON, and I think it's 88 pages of his work that I'm really looking forward to seeing. And there you go. There's another sample before it gets uber filthy. Pretty great stuff. And then we'll go to, I'll just show you a quick more. Another. Sorry about this. One hand on the camera. Here we go. Next artist in red. And then we get to my man Ballard again. Just a nice coincidence that I happen to get a couple of things by this guy in this particular order. So there you go. Thickness number 1. Great stuff. Really liked it. Another one that blew me away was Vortex by William Cardini. I don't even know what to say about this other than let's just have a flip through. Space traveler finds a planet that is emitting some sort of energy readings, transports himself down to the surface to find where it's coming from. Energy readings are coming from this one particular life form who starts mutating into an actual creature. They battle. I think the creatures are called the Vortex, and I believe these guys are called the Wizards, but it's WIIIZZZARD. Really great style in this book. Super, super basic, but I love it. So they battle. Our hero gets sliced in half, melts down, and reforms into two separate entities, and then the fight continues through the rest of the book. Issues 2 and 3 I ordered today because I kind of want to see where the hell this thing is going to go. And at the end of this particular issue, they kind of morph back into one creature. Loved it. Really loved it. High on my list of guys to hunt down more from is this William Cardini. Super fun little book. Really well presented. And yeah, I really dug that. This was just a freebie that was thrown in. I won't really waste time showing. It's kind of a little poster. I'm not really going to show you that. comicsmag.com I think is the site. It's now shut down. They don't print this anymore because they've gone over to the Comics Journal, I believe, to their website to run the website or to continue on with the website. This magazine is similar in style to Comics Journal. They interview artists, they talk about comic books, they review comic books. And then they reprint some strips and stuff as well. This is a fairly interesting issue. In this one they also talk about Wally Wood's style. And what else? Dick Ayers, etc. I haven't read through all of these yet, and then they come to some reviews here at the end. I think it's pretty well put together. It's pretty thin. And on the back, a nice surprise, there was an ad for Westcan Printing Group, which is based out of here, Winnipeg, Manitoba. So I'm going to have a look. I think this issue came out in 2006, I believe is what it said inside. I can't remember. But I'm going to have a look to see if they're still around. I thought I saw... Yeah, there we go. Copyright 2006. So there you go. So that's that one. Very cool. Newspaper style anthology called Diamond Comics. I ordered 2 more of these tonight because they showcased a couple of the artists that I was attracted to in this last batch here. They appear in some of these, so we'll see how those are. This one was kind of hit and miss. This story right here that's going right now, I really liked this one, but the rest of them I wasn't kind of blown away by. Again, the writing can be really amateurish in some of this stuff, and it's just not really interesting. It's almost stream of consciousness type of writing, and that's one thing that disappoints me about some of these things, that as much as I might be attracted to the style and stuff, the writing sometimes just leaves me something to be desired. I almost wish that if they're just going to do a comic strip, maybe just try a silent form or something. I don't know, but whatever. Sometimes, as I've said in the past, the style outweighs anything else, and this is a good example of that. Believe it or not, that right there says Rub the Blood, and that's what this one is called. Crazy kind of bat creature there. And if you can see, that's a gun with the end flipped up, where you're seeing kind of the interiors, and his hand is there, and he's got teeth, and there's some sort of tongue coming out here. I don't know what the hell is going on there, but some insane fucking art on this thing. And here's the back cover of Rub the Blood, and it says it up there too. Another one that I've heard about for a long time, and I just had to see it in real life. I think this is Josh Ayers that does the artwork on this one, I think is his name, on this cover anyway. And again, it's an anthology. And this one happens to have William Cardini in it as well, the guy that did Vortex. So the idea with a lot of these guys from this particular group of cartoonists is that they were really they grew up reading all the Spawn and the Image and all those kind of garbagey type of comic books, and it left quite an effect on them as far as they're completely aware about how shitty those books are, but that style of art by guys like Rob Liefeld and stuff has really left a impression on them. So this particular magazine, Rub the Blood, is really focused on recreating some of that insanity in their own kind of voice. Here's another mental art piece here. I don't understand how he even goes about doing this. It's so dense and so messy looking, but if you sit and look at it, you can see details of stuff. It really reminds me of S. Clay Wilson Polka Dot Demon, I think it was called, or Checkered Demon, I think. Some of that, because it's really, really dirty stuff in there, as you can probably see if you're looking hard enough. But really impressive, just because of the absolute insanity of it. The rest of the magazine didn't really do much for me. I'm glad I checked it out. A couple of things blew me away, but most of it was kind of garbagey. And then here's the William Cardini 2-page little comic strip. Love it. Love his style. Very, very much. Anyway, there you go. Rub the Blood. Excuse me, sorry. And then speaking of giant magazines, here's Comics number 3, and then I also have Comics number 4. On the back of this one, another surprise for me. Canadian artist that I love, who you might have heard me talk about before if you've watched the rest of my videos, Mark Bell, with a gigantic spread on the back. Love it. I love his stuff. He used to appear in Exclaim. It was a newspaper, a free newspaper magazine. I've got a box load of them downstairs, and he had a comic strip in there for years. It was always free to pick up across Canada. It still goes now. I don't know if they do as much in the way of having comics in there. They might have one or two little things, but they had a few in there back then. And Mark Bell was always my favorite out of the artists working through there. So I won't show you too much in this. Same thing, just a bigger layout. So interviews, articles, write-ups, reviews with comic artists about comics. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Again, the kind of comics journal style of writing. I wanted to quickly show you this one because it has this issue has a nice article with Shaky Kane, who also gets the cover on this. Who's on the back here? Oh, just a comic strip on the back. I'll show you the... And then another one that appealed to me as well. I'm not a huge fan of anime or manga, but one of them that does stand out to me is called Berserk. I saw the anime originally, and then because I enjoyed it so much, I hunted down a bunch of the manga. And then, to my surprise, there's a big article talking about the creator of it a little bit, and then giving us a kind of overview of the story and what kind of ideas he was playing with when he was writing this. Really, really cool. And here we go. So Shaky Kane gets a nice overview over here, and then on this side it's a Q&A with him. And it's very cool. I didn't realize that he'd been around as long as he had, even doing covers for some 2000 ADs. Over here it says 1989, the UK Deadline magazine. Tank Girl appeared in Deadline. They say it was basically Jamie Hewlett's magazine, meaning people only seemed to buy it for Tank Girl, but there was a lot of other good stuff, even great stuff in that magazine. My favorites were anything drawn by the mysterious Shaky Kane. So I'm definitely going to try to hunt down some of the Deadline magazines. And apparently he also appeared in he had a comic strip called Pinhead Nation in a magazine called Revolver. It's another UK magazine similar in format to Deadline. So I don't know if any of my UK viewers happen to be seeing this and you know anything about these magazines. I'd love to hear about them, because Revolver I know is a music magazine from the US, but I don't know the UK one. And Deadline, I'm afraid I've never heard of it. While I know Tank Girl, obviously, but I was never a big fan of Tank Girl, so I wouldn't have been drawn to that particular magazine even if I had seen it on the stands. So he talks a bit about his career, he talks a bit about his techniques for coloring, and then kind of how he sort of got interested in the printing process as well, and kind of colored his comics accordingly with, you know, as he kind of became more familiar with printing techniques, he would color his comics the way that he knew they would finally appear in the publications. So really, really cool. Really interesting guy. Other interviews that I've seen with him, which haven't been many, mind you, it's almost kind of comical. He almost plays it almost as a farce, so it's nice to see a quote-unquote real interview with the guy. So there you go. We'll leave you with this. But that is WowCool. Definitely check it out if you're into any of this sort of stuff. Quite a spread there. Like I said, I just ordered a whole stack more. I think another 11 comics and magazines today. So those should be here in a couple of weeks. And maybe I'll do another video when those get here, and we'll have a look at more Vortex. Yeah. Alright, thanks guys. See ya.